Good afternoon. I'm John Pelares, Chair of the Australian Financial Complaints Authority. I'm pleased to welcome you to our 2025 Annual General Meeting. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the lands on which we meet today. I acknowledge that we have people attending from many lands right across the country. Today, I'm on the land of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. I pay my respect to their elders past, present and emerging, and to all First Nations people joining us today. I note there is a quorum present. Notice of the meeting was duly given and the meeting has been properly convened. We are very pleased to welcome you online through our virtual meeting platform provided by our registrar, MUFG Corporate Markets. Before I outline today's agenda and give my address, I'd like to introduce the AFCA board, the management team, and our auditor. The members of the AFCA management team joining me here today are our Chief Ombudsman and CEO, David Locke, Acting Deputy Chief Ombudsman, Natalie Cameron, Company Secretary, Anna Campbell, Acting Chief Operating Officer, Bridget Parsonson, Acting Head of Finance, Sam Arnold, and our Deputy Company Secretary, Dawn Logan Keefe. We are also joined by our audit partner, Derek Ing of Grant Thornton. My fellow directors are joining us online. Our directors with industry experience are Raylene Bellotti, Swathi Devi, Gary Dransfield, and Yen Long. Our directors with consumer experience are Jonathan Hunya, Dr. Heron Loban, Delia Rickard, and Erin Turner. Before proceeding, I'd like to welcome our newest director, Jonathan Hunya, who joined us in January. Jonathan replaced Gerard Brody after Gerard was appointed the full-time chair of the Essential Services Commission in Victoria. Today's meeting will be an opportunity to hear about AFCA's work during the 24-25 financial year. I'll speak first, and then you'll hear from David Locke. We have one item of business at today's meeting, which is the presentation of our general purpose financial report, incorporating the annual financial report, director's report, and the auditor's report. No resolution or voting is required, but you will have the opportunity to discuss or ask questions about the report. In particular, you'll be able to ask questions directly to our audit partner, Derek Ing of Grant Thornton. Please share questions you may have relating to today's business using the online platform. On behalf of AFCA, I thank you for attending our AGM. In the past financial year, AFCA has continued to play a vital role as a trusted part of Australia's financial system. Once more, we were able to manage complex disputes at scale, delivering fair outcomes for consumers, small businesses, and member firms. We received over 100,000 complaints for the second year running. There were many causes for this continued high volume, including major investment and advice failures. While scam complaints were down, we still received around 500 per month. Naturally, this level of complaints presents challenges, but AFCA remained focused on what mattered, delivering fair, timely, and independent resolutions. The agile and innovative approach AFCA takes with our people in finding efficiencies and in escalating benefits from our new technology platform meant we met those challenges. Last year, we finalised our new strategic plan for 25 through to 2027. Our plan has 4 strategic priorities: equity of access, service excellence, influence, and expertise. These priorities reflect our commitment not only to providing world-class dispute resolution, but also to prevent complaints. We do this by using our data and insights to influence industry practice and consumer behaviour, and to contribute to policy development. Throughout the year, we engage with firms, consumer groups, regulators and government, using our voice to help secure better outcomes for all. The board's focus in the first year of the new strategic plan has been to work with management on consolidation, strengthening internal processes, improving timeliness, and embedding a culture of care and accountability. I'd like to touch on equity of access in particular as one of the cornerstones of our strategic plan. Last year, AFCA launched a multi-year program to identify and remove barriers that prevent people, particularly those in vulnerable circumstances, from fully accessing our service. This initiative builds on the empathy and expertise AFCA already brings, removing barriers so we can support people more effectively and resolve complaints faster and more fairly. While many people move through our process with ease, others face real and invisible challenges. The board is deeply supportive of this work, which includes cultural safety initiatives, reconciliation commitments, and inclusive service design. We invite you to join us in ensuring people get the right support at the right time, no matter their circumstances. At AFCA, we strive to see the person behind every complaint. Accessibility and inclusion also matters in our workplace. We were proud to see AFCA's inclusive workplace culture recognised again this year. We received awards from the Australian HR Institute, among others, and earned silver tier status in the Australian Workplace Equality Index. Last year we took on new important responsibilities and started preparing for others. AFCA's jurisdiction expanded to cover buy now, pay later products. We were pleased to see this extension of consumer protections that are already available to other forms of credit. We also welcomed the passage of the Scams Prevention Framework, a very important piece of legislation which aims to enhance the prevention, detection and disruption of scams. The government has said we will be the Scams Dispute Resolution Scheme under the framework, which means our jurisdiction will widen out from the banks to also encompass telecommunications companies and social media platforms. Federal Treasury is leading work on the new rules and codes that are needed to implement this framework. A transitional step is the government allowing AFCA to consider the actions of receiving banks. This will be from March next year, even before the framework is fully implemented, and will give us visibility over the full chain of events in a scam. In another change, next year digital asset businesses, such as cryptocurrency platforms, will be required to apply for an AFSL and become members of AFCA. All these reforms recognise AFCA's ability to manage complex, multi-party disputes and deliver fair outcomes at scale. They strengthen consumer protections across Australia's financial services industry. The team is already preparing for broadening scams dispute resolution, engaging with stakeholders and building the systems and the expertise needed to support effective implementation under the framework. The next year will be a time of great change, but we are ready. On behalf of the board, I want to thank David Locke for his values-driven leadership and unwavering commitment to fairness over the past year. Thank you to the executive and the senior leadership team for their focus and commitment to AFCA's purpose and strategic direction. And thank you to all of AFCA's people for their continued dedication and professionalism. Your work supports fair outcomes for consumers, for small business, and financial firms in what are often complex circumstances. I also want to acknowledge the collaboration of AFCA scheme members and the continuous improvement you are making in addressing complaints and taking on board our insights. Thank you for your partnership as we work together towards a fairer financial system. I'd now like to invite David to speak.
Well, thank you very much, Chair, and good afternoon, everyone. I'm David Locke, the Chief Ombudsman and CEO of AFCA. I'd also like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the lands on which we meet today, and I pay my respect to their elders past, present and emerging. I also extend my acknowledgement to all First Nations people who are joining us today. This land was, is and always will be Aboriginal land and was never ceded. In 2024-2025, AFCA continued to deliver on its purpose, providing fair, independent and timely resolution of financial complaints. We resolved more than 101,000 complaints during the year, and the vast majority of these cases, 96%, were resolved by agreement between the parties. We issued just under 4,800 determinations where a final decision was made by an ombudsman. Our work resulted in $391 million in compensation to consumers. We also reported 105 systemic issues to regulators, including 3 serious contraventions of the law. Our systemic issues work also resulted in an additional $7.3 million in refunds to more than 500,000 consumers. We continue to engage with industry on the need to improve internal complaint handling and the importance of tackling the root causes that give rise to complaints. Last year, general insurance complaints rose by 17%, driven by a surge in add-on insurance disputes as a deadline approached for lodging older complaints. Motor vehicle insurance was also a leading cause of complaints because of claim delays due to shortages of labour and of parts. Life insurance complaints were up 5%. Investment and advice complaints increased by 18%, with major failures in this sector. We recently held a consumer-focused webinar to reach out to the many people affected by these failures, and we will continue to communicate clearly about what people can do. Superannuation complaints fell 16%, including a 39% drop in complaints about death benefit claims. And whilst that's a very positive shift, this improvement was from a record high, and we continue to monitor the level of service-related complaints. Banking and finance complaints comprise the largest part of our work, and they declined 9% after a 45% drop in scam-related complaints. And whilst this fall is encouraging, the number of scam complaints was still too high, and as the chair has said, around 500 a month. And we all know that scam complaints can involve the loss of life-changing sums, and the trauma caused by scams is often immense. Scams damage people's financial confidence, their trust in the financial system, and sometimes even their independence. The passage of the federal government's legislation for the Scams Prevention Framework in February, as John has said, was a critical step, and we are working hard to prepare for its implementation. The coming months will be a crucial period as we build a scams dispute resolution scheme that covers not only financial firms but also telecommunications firms and social media platforms. We already have a dedicated team working on this project. This work will not take away, though, from our operations in other areas. This year we've embedded our major IT transformation following the launch of our new case management system, member portal and consumer portal not quite 18 months ago. These systems already in this financial year that's just passed handled 66,000 online complaints and supported the onboarding of nearly 8,000 members. While a transformation of this scale inevitably involves challenges and nothing's ever perfect on day one, we can report that we are seeing improved efficiency and service with more on the way. And continuous improvement was built into the project from the very start. We're incredibly grateful for your input over the last year, your support, continued partnership as we roll out regular updates, and we're committed to making this a world-class system. We're also taking first steps in the use of AI to increase the efficiency and effectiveness of our service. For example, AI has been able to help us to identify possible systemic issues by looking for patterns in incoming complaints. However, ours will always be a people-centered service. There's no replacement for human contact when you're trying to resolve complaints. In 2024-2025, we made 21 submissions to government, to regulators and industry consultations on issues ranging from credit reporting and financial abuse to scams and indeed insurance reform. We also consulted on 7 approach documents, publishing 5 new or updated approaches by the 30th of June. And these documents are important because they help our members and help other parties to understand how we make decisions and how we can provide support to get earlier and more consistent resolution. They're all available for you to have a look at on our website. In the new financial year, we will continue to strengthen our core service, support earlier resolution and contribute to broader systems improvements that will deliver efficiency and should deliver improved services to you, our members. Fairness underpins everything that we do at AFCA, but fairness is meaningless if our service isn't accessible to everyone who needs it. We also need to attract and retain people who are committed to AFCA's purpose and who contribute valuable expertise to our work. Working on complaints with parties in dispute every day takes great skill, empathy and resilience. And we continue to invest in well-being, capability and inclusion. Last year we introduced new family violence policies, expanded cultural safety training and continued with our reconciliation journey. With our evolving remit, now is the time to make some changes to our leadership structure. Next year we will introduce 3 new executive positions reporting into myself as the CEO. And this recognises the growth and complexity of our organisation and the breadth of our work since our inception in 2018. We're a vastly different organisation today, but our senior structure has remained pretty much unchanged from that time. The new executive roles which are now being advertised are for a Chief Scams Officer, a Chief Technology Officer and a Chief Customer Officer. This restructure necessarily means the role of Chief Operating Officer will also be advertised. Now, the Chief Scams Officer will lead the world's first Scams Ombudsman service that is working across different sectors such as the banking, telco sector and the social media sector. And this hasn't been done yet anywhere in the world. The introduction of a Chief Technology Officer recognises the higher level needs of our organisation today when technology, data analytics and AI have become core enablers and are central to our strategy and also are central to delivering the Scams Ombudsman service as well. The Chief Customer Officer will own the experience of all of our customers. You, the financial firms who are our members, as well as individuals and small businesses who bring complaints to us. I'm delighted to announce that Dr. June Smith has agreed to continue in her role as Deputy Chief Ombudsman for a further 3 years. June's deep expertise, her principled commitment to fairness and her exceptional leadership have helped to make AFCA the organisation it is today. General Counsel Anna Campbell will also remain in her role rounding out the senior executive team. I know that Anna will continue to provide us with expert legal advice and sound judgment for which she's known. I'm confident that our new leadership structure and the continued commitment of all of AFCA's staff to our purpose will set us up for success in 2026. In closing, I want to thank our independent chair, Professor John Polares, and the board for their support, wise counsel and diligent governance of AFCA. Thank you also to AFCA's exceptional staff for the important role that they play. But lastly and importantly, thank you to all of you, our member firms, for your ongoing partnership and trust. Together, we can make a difference and can continue to work collaboratively to support your businesses.